my twin brother impersonated me, became a lawyer, and even defended a client in court. Okay, so I never thought I'd be writing this. I feel like I'm in some bizarre movie plot right now, and honestly, I'm still processing everything. I just need to get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there has been through something similar, I highly doubt it, but still, or can give me some advice. To give you all some context, I, 32M, have an identical twin brother, let's call him Tom. Growing up, we were inseparable, not just because of the twin thing, but we genuinely got along great. We shared everything, from toys to friends, and even dreams. Well, at least I thought we shared dreams. In high school, we both developed an interest in law. For me, it was a calling. I loved the idea of advocating for people, helping them navigate the complexities of the legal system. For Tom, I'm not really sure. He always seemed interested but never as passionate. He was more into the idea of prestige, the respect that came with being a lawyer, the image it painted. When it came time for college, we both enrolled in law school. But by the second year, Tom dropped out. He said the whole thing was too much for him, too many rules, too much reading, not enough excitement. I didn't think much of it at the time. People change their minds, right? Law isn't for everyone. He switched majors, floundered for a bit, and eventually moved back home while I stayed at university and worked my ass off. Fast forward a few years, I passed the bar exam and started working at a small law firm. Nothing glamorous, but I loved it. The work was fulfilling, even though it was tough. Meanwhile, Tom bounced between jobs, nothing stable. He would often make remarks about how my life seemed to be going so well while he was stuck in a rut. I always tried to be supportive. I'd even offer to help him figure out what he wanted to do, but he brushed it off. I thought that was the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. About 6 months ago, weird things started happening. I'd get emails at work from people I didn't know, thanking me for helping them or asking for updates on cases I wasn't involved in. At first, I chalked it up to spam or miscommunication. But then it started getting weirder. One day, I got a call from a client who was furious that I hadn't shown up to a meeting. Except, I hadn't scheduled any meetings with him. In fact, I didn't even know who he was. Confused, I apologized and asked for details, but the client insisted we'd already met multiple times. He even described me down to the tie I supposedly wore. That's when I started getting this sinking feeling in my stomach. There was only one person who could be confused for me. Only one person who had enough knowledge of the law, or at least enough partial knowledge, to pull this off. I confronted Tom. I expected him to laugh it off or deny it, but instead, he just looked guilty. He sat me down and explained everything. Apparently, Tom had been pretending to be me for months. It started small, just some casual legal advice to friends of friends. But then, as he put it, things snowballed. Before he knew it, he had full-blown clients and was taking on cases, as me. He'd been using my name, my credentials, even my damn office email address. And somehow, he'd convinced people that he was a legitimate lawyer. I was beyond furious. This wasn't some harmless prank. He had literally committed fraud and could have gotten both of us into serious trouble. But the part that really threw me? Tom didn't even seem to think it was that big of a deal. He kept saying things like, I was just helping people and you weren't handling these cases, so I stepped in. He didn't seem to understand how utterly messed up the situation was. I couldn't even think straight after that. I kicked him out of my apartment. He'd been crashing on my couch for a while, and told him I needed some space. But the story doesn't end there. A few weeks after the confrontation, I got a call from another lawyer, someone I'd worked with before. He told me that I had just defended a client in court. My heart dropped. Tom had actually gone to court, as me, and represented someone in front of a judge. The worst part? He won the case. When I confronted him about it, he was almost proud. He told me he'd done it because he knew he could handle it, and no one got hurt. But that's not the point. He wasn't just pretending to be me anymore, he was playing with the law. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. The courtroom isn't a game. People's lives are at stake, their livelihoods, their futures. Tom didn't get that, or he didn't care. I tried to reason with him, to explain that what he did was illegal, that he could get caught, that I could lose my license because of his actions. But every time we talked, he just downplayed it, said I was overreacting. And maybe that's the scariest part of all. He doesn't seem to understand the gravity of what he's done. Or worse, maybe he does understand and just doesn't care. I'm at a crossroads now. On one hand, he's my brother, my twin. We've been through everything together. I don't want to be the one to destroy his life by turning him in or reporting him to the authorities. But on the other hand, if this gets out and I don't do anything about it, it could ruin my life. My career, everything I've worked for, could disappear because of his recklessness. And this is where things get really complicated. It's not just about the law, or my career, or his crazy choices. It's about family. Family is supposed to be the one thing you can always rely on, the people who have your back no matter what. But what do you do when it's your family member who stabs you in the back? What do you do when the person you trust most is the one causing all the chaos in your life? I've always been close to my family, not just Tom, but my parents and our older sister, too. Our parents were proud of me when I became a lawyer. They've always been proud of both of us, even though Tom struggled to find his footing after dropping out of law school. I think they never gave up hope that he'd figure something out eventually. They certainly never expected this. Here's the thing. If I go to my parents with this, it's going to devastate them. Tom has always been the more carefree, the more fun, and honestly, the more loved twin. I've never been jealous of that, it's just how things were. He was always the one getting into mischief as a kid, and my parents always found a way to laugh it off. They'd say things like, "That's just Tom being Tom." But this isn't something you can just laugh off. My dad is a retired police officer, and I can only imagine how horrified he'd be if he knew what Tom had done. It's not just breaking the law, it's undermining everything my dad believed in, everything I believe in. My mom would be heartbroken. She's always believed the best in both of us, even when Tom was screwing up. And as much as she loves me, I know she has a soft spot for Tom. He's the baby of the family by 3 minutes, but it's always felt like more than that. If I tell them, it will shatter the image they have of him. And maybe that's what's stopping me from coming clean about the whole thing. I keep asking myself, why did he do it? Was it jealousy? Was it some misguided attempt to prove something to himself, to our parents, to me? Or was it simply that he didn't know any other way to get ahead in life? Maybe it's all of those things, or maybe none of them. I don't know anymore. I thought I knew him, but now I feel like I don't know anything. Since finding out what Tom's been doing, I haven't been able to focus. Work is a constant source of anxiety because every time I get an email or a phone call, I'm terrified it's going to be about something he did. I keep wondering if there's more I don't know about. How many other cases has he taken? How many clients think they've been talking to me when really they've been dealing with him? I've even started to question myself. Am I a bad brother for not noticing sooner? Should I have seen the signs that something like this was coming? Or have I just been too wrapped up in my own life to see that Tom was struggling? Maybe I could have done something to help him before things got this out of hand. It's hard to admit, but part of me feels guilty. Guilty that I have the life he wanted. Guilty that I didn't reach out more, or check in on him more often. I keep replaying old conversations in my head, trying to figure out if there were warning signs I missed. Was he crying out for help, and I just wasn't listening? Or has he always been this selfish, and I was just too blind to see it? I've been having nightmares about it too. In my dreams, I'm standing in a courtroom, but I can't speak. My mouth is moving, but no sound is coming out. Meanwhile, Tom is standing next to me, wearing my suit, using my voice, and the judge is smiling at him like he's the real lawyer, like he's the one who belongs there. And then I wake up, drenched in sweat, heart pounding, and for a split second, I don't know if it's real or just a dream. Now here's the real kicker. If I don't report him, and this blows up, I could lose my license. Everything I've worked for, gone, just like that. And even if I somehow manage to avoid getting caught up in his mess, my reputation could be ruined. Who's going to want to work with a lawyer whose own twin brother was impersonating him in court? I've been doing some research, and the legal implications are terrifying. Fraud, identity theft, practicing law without a license, these aren't minor offenses. If he gets caught, he's looking at serious jail time. And if it comes out that I knew about it and didn't report it, I could be facing consequences, too. Not to mention, the firm I work for could also be in hot water. So what do? Do I turn him in and potentially destroy his life? Or do I try to fix this quietly, without involving the authorities? I've gone back and forth on this a million times. I don't want to be responsible for sending my own brother to prison. But at the same time, I can't just let this slide. Part of me wonders if there's a way to handle this internally, without making it a public spectacle. Maybe I could convince him to stop, to confess to the clients he's been dealing with, and pay back any money he's taken. But that feels like a fantasy. Tom's not exactly the type to admit when he's wrong, let alone take responsibility for something this huge. And even if he did agree to stop, who's to say he wouldn't just do it again? He's already proven that he's willing to cross lines that most people wouldn't even think about crossing. How do I trust him after this? How do I know that the next time he's in a tough spot, he won't pull something like this again? I've been carrying this secret around for weeks now, and it's eating me alive. I've always prided myself on being a good person, on doing the right thing, even when it's hard. But this is beyond anything I've ever dealt with before. I've started avoiding my family because I can't stand the thought of seeing Tom or having to lie to my parents. Every time I see them, I feel this crushing weight of guilt, like I'm betraying them by keeping this from them. But how do I tell them? How do I break their hearts like that? At the same time, I can't keep living like this. The stress is affecting every part of my life. I've been drinking more than usual, just to take the edge off, but even that's not helping anymore. I've thought about talking to a therapist, but what am I supposed to say? Hi, my twin brother is impersonating me and committing fraud, and I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, that'll go over well. I just feel so lost. I don't know what the right thing to do is. And no matter what I decide, I'm going to lose something, my brother, my career, my family's trust. There's no winning here. So, Reddit, I'm asking for your advice. What would you do if you were in my shoes? How do you make a decision when every option feels like the wrong one? I need help. I need clarity. Because right now, I'm drowning. Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new content. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think and what you'd like to see next. And if you want to keep watching more videos like this one, just click on the next video. See you there.